There you go. Oh my god. What do you guys think? These look delicious. So I'm really hoping. Here's what I did to offset my mistake. Oh, thank goodness. I need a little more salt. I'm going to add more seasoning salt into the rest of the batter. That's the only thing that is wrong. So yes, you can use baking soda or baking. Just one quick thing to say. This is my disclaimer. Anytime that I show you an item that is more of a splurge item, remember, portion control is important. Only have it for that one day, and make sure you only have a serving size of it. Tip, big and important tip: if you make a big batch of brownies, cookies, anything like that, make sure you're buying Ziploc bags, sandwich bags. Put a serving size in each Ziploc bag, put it into your freezer, and then you can thaw it out the morning of or the night before your splurge day, so that you can have one portion size of those cookies or those brownies or that piece of cake. Just remember, portion control is so important so that you don't lose everything that you've worked for.
When you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go.
Alright, you guys, so I'm kind of excited because I don't know if you've ever heard of these. Have you heard of fried green tomatoes? Have you ever seen the movie Fried Green Tomatoes? Anyway, so what I'm going to do is, my mom, all my life, I was raised on a huge garden. I know you've heard me talk about it in different videos and stuff. So I've always been used to eating really, really healthy, but also having kind of my splurge items, which I show you is okay to have splurge items. I feel like there should be always be a balance in your diet. These people who are fanatical, they want nothing but all organic and spend an extreme amount and expensive money on $170 for this collagen and da-da-da-da. They're going overboard. You don't need to do that to be healthy. You see the way I eat. I have very low blood pressure. I don't have cholesterol problems. I don't have diabetes right at the moment. I know eventually that can change in a heartbeat because of the age that I'm turning and everything. But at the moment, I don't. I will change my health and diet and the way I eat if that ever happens to me. So it's balance, 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 balance. So have fun with your life. Don't be afraid to not eat that organic thing or quit spending $170 on one vitamin, things like that. You don't need it. These health fanatics. Bob Harper was a health fanatic. He is one of the coaches and trainers on Biggest Loser. He trained you hard, pushed you hard, told you weren't allowed to eat zero junk food, zero fattening food, and zero carbs. What happened? He was in the news for a major heart attack. Some of it has to do with genetics. And he ate, how healthy? $170 organic food for one little tiny thing? Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what he did. And he had a heart attack. So live your life and enjoy it. Don't be afraid to enjoy foods. That's what my channel is about. Teaching you balance, teaching you to have a balanced diet and enjoy your life, enjoy your food. So today we are making my mom's recipe, fried green tomatoes. So this is just the beginning of the video. You gotta prep it. So a friend of mine at work, his name is Robert, he gave these to me. Look how nice these babies look. I just came back today from Turkey Run for our wedding anniversary trip, and I'm ready to prep these and show you how my mom used to make fried green tomatoes. In fact, my friends and my husband, who's had her fried green tomatoes, every time they go to a restaurant and went to the cater celebration, you get fried green tomatoes that are like bleh. They don't taste nothing like my mom's. They don't like them. They want my mom's recipe. So here's my chance. Let's see how I do. You guys to see the amount of fried green tomatoes that I have that he gave me. I was so excited when he gave these to me. I couldn't thank him enough. So I'm really hoping that he has a way to look at YouTube, because I really want him to see this video, because if it wasn't for him, I would not be making these for you. So the first thing you got to do is you need a bowl. You need to soak these in salt water for 2 hours. 2 hours. So I have to slice all of these tomatoes, clean them, slice them, put them in this bowl filled with salt water. They go in the refrigerator for at least 2 hours. I'm hoping I'm not too tired tonight, because I am worn out a little bit, so that I can actually make them for you tonight, and for me and my hubby, and for you guys tonight. If not, they'll sit in the salt water until tomorrow, and I'll make them for you tomorrow. So let's get started. Now, to me, the best way to make salt water, I say, is it needs to be lukewarm, and so that the salt melts into the water correctly. So how I'm going to do that, that's just me. I don't know how my mom made them. I don't know if she used lukewarm water, but how I'm going to do it is I'm going to take this, put it in here, and some of it, and then pour it in here, and then we're going to fill the bowl up as needed until I have all the tomatoes covered with the salt water. Okay, so we're going to start out this way. I'm going to start out, because we don't have much left of this salt, and we're going to do a few tablespoons full of salt. Now, the reason why you do it in salt water is it helps to get them moistened and prepped, and also salt is a great agent to help with bringing out the flavor in the tomatoes, or any food. You have food without zero salt, that kind of land doesn't have any flavor to it. So the salt water, if you soak it in them, tomatoes is kind of like potatoes. They kind of, I've noticed whenever I eat fried tomatoes, they soak up the salt like a sponge. So that's why you need to soak them for 2 hours. I'm pretty sure that's my mom's reasoning behind this. I don't know if anyone else who makes fried green tomatoes soaks them like this, but it helps to add flavor into the tomatoes, brings out the tartness and the flavor of the fried green tomatoes. And if you do it soaked in salt water, because it soaks it up like a sponge, it gets throughout tomatoes, and you still will have that twinge of saltiness that, again, what brings out the flavor. So here we go. We're going to put this in the microwave. I don't know how well you can tell in the video, but this water is nice and milky looking, which means that the salt is completely melted and dissolved into the water. So now we're ready to add it to the bowl and dice the tomato and get them added. All of the tomatoes sliced and in the salt water. There's one thing I want to add, and I don't know what is, something in my mind is making me want to add this, and I don't know if it's because when I was little, I remembered watching my mom make fried green tomatoes, and for some reason, I'm thinking she's left something out. My mom's in her 80s, and so it's possible she did. But you use lemon juice for apples. You're going to put them in the fridge for a little bit after you slice them before you prep them for making applesauce, or, cinnamon apples, or spiced apples, whatever you're going to make. And it keeps the apples from turning brown. But I feel like to offset the salt in the salt water, for some reason I am remembering my mom putting 1 to 2 tablespoons of lemon juice in the water. And I don't know why I'm remembering this, but because that's sticking in my head, and I'm for some reason thinking maybe she did that, I'm going to just sprinkle about 2 beans of lemon juice in the water. Now, it's not going to be enough lemon to overpower and make it even more tangy, because fried green tomatoes, if you've ever had them before, they are tangy on their own because they're raw tomatoes, not ripe tomatoes. But what it does is it's going to offset the saltiness, so that way it doesn't completely take away the tanginess of the tomatoes, because we don't want that completely to be gone because of the salt water, because then it will ruin the flavor of the tomatoes. That's what makes them so special, is the tanginess, because of them being unripened tomatoes. So when I come back again, you're going to get to watch me make the batter and fry them. Here they are, all covered. You may not be able to tell, but they are covered in the water good enough that they will definitely be soaking. So I can't wait to make these. Hey guys, now this is when I wish my husband was inside the house right now, and maybe this is why men who are good cooks, the wives prefer the men to do the cooking, because sometimes the food that you prep, once you add all the stuff you need to get it prepped and ready for cooking, it makes it really, really heavy. Ah, I did it without spilling it. 2 hours on the clock. So this is the second part of making the fried green tomatoes, and I apologize that I'm doing it a little different because of the fact that I was really tired last night. So I just let them soak overnight in the salt water and lemon juice water that I made last night. So today I'm trying to get that being out of there, but it's going to be in there. I guess it's not going to be helped. We're going to actually make the fried green tomatoes, and I'm going to do a very small batch to show you guys how to make it, how to put the ingredients together, and how to actually make it. How my mom taught me how to make it, how I watched her make it from the time I was a little girl growing up. So here we go. First thing you need to get started is you're going to need something to lay them on flat. You don't need a cookie sheet, but I chose to put them on a cookie sheet just because of I don't want to lay them flat. My table isn't cleaned off for this, and so therefore I had to improvise. So my mom told me that you have to drain them after they soak in the soda water, and you're supposed to lay them flat on a towel and use paper towels to dab them off, and then you put them into the ingredients. So I want to show you that part when you can see the cookie sheet better, and then I'm going to add the skillet. And yes, this is going to be sitting here the whole time, so please don't freak out on me. I will be careful. My mom, after the fire that burned down the house, she gets freaked out. So she's going to be freaking out watching this part of the video right about now. We're going to have the batter's going to be here. This is going to be here, and I'm going to do a small enough match so you can watch the whole thing go down and see what they look like finished. Don't let my mom know. She's going to see this video later, but me and my husband are going over for a visit, and she says I'll never have fried green tomatoes again because one, you can't get them from farmers markets very often, and two, she doesn't have the energy to make them like she used to. So she's like, I'll never have them again. Shh. I'm making a small batch and we're taking it over as a surprise for my mom. So anyway, let's get this started. Right here, first of all, I'm going to very carefully. I kind of shook it, and I'm putting it on the towel. You're not at points you will not see my head, so I'm just warning you as we do this. I want to make sure you are seeing what I'm doing more than you see me. So I'm going to try to fix it to where you see the towel better and stuff. So if my head's cut off, you know, pretend it's a cooking video where the person never shows their face. Okay, so again, I just have been lightly shaking it, shake off the liquid. We're going to keep going. So we have all of them on here. As you can see, I now have a good amount of them on here on the cookie sheet. This, like I said, we're just doing a very small batch together so you can kind of see how to put the ingredients together, how to get them started and prep them, which we're finishing the prep work now, and then what they look like finished. And then I will cook the rest of the bowl later after the video. So the next thing you're going to do is, my mom told me you have to have a paper towel, and you dab off the salt water with the paper towel. Now, guess what we're ready to do? We're ready to make batter. Okay, so how I'm going to start out is I'm going to go use my phone because she sent it to me through Facebook Messenger, and I'm going to look at my phone so I get all the ingredient amounts done correctly, because I don't know it by heart. I could have sat there and memorized it, I guess, but I didn't. So how I'm going to start it out is a little bit different than what she did, because it's looking like you put the water and the egg in last, but I'm going to put it in first. So we're going to see how bad of a difference this makes it. I'm going to do it a little bit different. Well, I can actually do it with a different measuring cup. So that's maybe what I should do, is get a measuring cup really quick here. And that's how we're going to do this part. So you're supposed to do 1/2 cup of water with a slightly beaten egg. So what we're going to do is get this filled up to 1/2 cup of water. I'm going to get the egg and we're going to beat it together in the water, and then have it ready to put into the bowl where I'm going to mix all of the ingredients together. So let me grab my bowl. I made sure to get a nice clear bowl for you guys so you can watch all of it go together, all of it mixed together. And you can see it easily, even if I'm not holding the camera above the bowl, okay? I don't know if you can tell in the camera, but here's my 1/2 cup of water. I'm going to add the egg. And then we're going to set this aside while I put all the dry ingredients together. And then we'll pour it in and finish it up. So, my husband loves to use whisk, so I have a whisk. So we're going to beat it. Break that yolk together. And have it beat up, okay? So there's first part ready to go. Now we're going to throw all the dry ingredients together. We're going to set this right over here so it's easy to find for me. And all right, so now let's look at the ingredients and start working on the dry ingredients together. I'm supposed to do 3/4 cups of cornstarch. I just picked something off the shelf and I just grabbed this because it was easy to reach, and there was a name brand one, so it's great value, is cornstarch. And so I switched the wet ingredients into this because this one shows the smaller measurements, so I need this one. So I dried it really good, so it should be safe. And I'm going to put 3/4. So it's 3/4 cup. So that means I have to do the 1/4 twice. 1/4 3 times. Okay, so here we go. And this is when I'm going to start wearing my food. Because I always, as a child, always been known for that and teased because I would be wearing my the powder and stuff all over me. So you get to watch me get really, really messy today. I need you to be 3/4. Okay. One. And it stuck a little bit. I thought, like I said, the best I could not to let that happen. Here we go. I know it's weird I'm packing it down, but I'm doing that to make sure that I get the ingredients right. There's 2. Three-fourths, so this is going to be the last one. I don't want it to be too little or too much. I'm really very, very picky when I make anything. I try to follow the ingredients exactly to a T, and I get irritated if I don't have it correct. And it's hard to see because, there we go. Now I can tell. I need a little more. It's wanting to stick to the sides because I did wash it, but I also tried to dry it super good. I guess I should have stuck it in my toaster oven for about 5 minutes and heat dried it, and then for sure all the water would have been slipped out of there. So, oh, and it's all over my phone. Like I said, it's gonna be everywhere. So anyway, so there's the first part. Now what we're going to do is we need to add the flour. This is supposedly 3/4 of cornstarch right here. So then you're going to add 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And what I had to do is I went in, I'm not showing you the baking powder box because of the way we do this. So there's a teaspoon. I'm putting it in this cup. What I need. And definitely baking soda. I'm using baking soda, not baking powder. That's probably not going to work as well, but we're going to try anyway. So, because that's all I have. So we're going to use baking powder, not baking soda. I mean baking soda, not baking powder. Sorry, because I don't have baking powder. So we're using 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So it's either going to turn out really horrible or it's going to turn out really good. Okay, so I have to use what I have. Sorry, I didn't pay attention and make sure that I had the right ingredient for that part. So we're going to do the best that we have. So 1/4 cup for a thing of pepper. And we're just going to use this teaspoon again. And I'm going to use about this much pepper. And I'm going to consider it good. Okay. I just realized that's a baking powder, baking soda. But I only have baking soda, so we're going to give it a shot. So then also we're going to take Lowerys seasoning salt. On here it says to use a salt and pepper mix, 3/4 teaspoons of Lowerys seasoning salt instead of salt and pepper, because that's what my mom prefers. So we're going to use Lowerys seasoning salt. The thing about baking powder and baking soda, it's just going to make it a lot saltier. That's going to be the difference right there. Let's see if I can take this off because it'll be easier. And the smell of Lowerys salt and seasoning salt. So using this. And putting this in, and then that's it. That's all for the dry ingredients. So here we go. Now probably what I should have done is just left out the baking powder part. So we're going to find out how this works. So next we put all of it together. And we're going to stir it and see how this goes. So I don't have my whisk, so what we're going to use is this. Hopefully I just didn't ruin it, because a lot of times when you use one or substitute over the other, when it comes to those two, it usually doesn't turn out very well. And this is my first time making it, so it'll probably be my luck that it won't work very well. And then remember, I said this is my first time making it, so you're going to want to use baking soda. Baking powder, not baking soda. Woo! This is thick. I'm trying to get it all stirred. Really good. And then hopefully this turns out okay. Alright. I'm going to stir all that together. And then what we need to do is add one more ingredient that I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm trying to do it a little at a time because it's going to be so much that we're mixing together. So we have to add one more ingredient. We're going to add 1 I think, let's see, how much of the flour? 1/4 cup of flour. There we go again. Time to get to wear it all. Yeah. So keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going. One-fourth is about there. Let's see if that looks right. Okay, here's a little over 1/4. We'll pour that in. Gonna put this aside. All right, we're gonna stir it all together as good as we can. So all the ingredients are together. And then we're going to get ready to dip it. And put it in the oil. So it's probably good that they're a little bit wet and not all the way dry. That'll make it go in better. Because in my opinion, this is not enough water. Because it's too dry. You want it to be a batter. Just a minute. You have to fix it so it's kind of wet. So it's not wet. I added a little more water to it, and now as you can see, it's nice and runny like it's supposed to be. So it's ready. So let's get the oil in and let's get started. My oil of choice to cook with is either olive oil or coconut oil. Right now I do not have but about this much left of my olive oil. So we're going to add some coconut oil in with it too, because we need it to be, this is the part where I get nervous when I cook anything fried. I hate popping oil. It always scares me. So let's get this in here. Get a good generous amount of the coconut oil. And sometimes, you know what, there's been times where people will use wrong ingredient and it ends up being a disaster. And then sometimes it ends up being the best thing that ever happened to the ingredient. So you don't know until you try it. But the second batch, I'm going to completely leave that piece out and just pretend like I don't have it. And it's not even in the recipe. So that's just the way I'm going to handle it. So what we're going to do is we're going to start dipping these babies. So what you're going to do is you're going to put it in the batter. And I'm going to push it down in because you want to make sure that these tomatoes are completely covered in them. I mean completely covered in it. And yeah, batter is nice and thick. And there we go. There's one. And I'm going to just kind of pop it in even though the oil is not hot yet. It's already starting to bubble. And so we're going to keep doing this. And I'm going to use the fork to get it out each time. And a lot of times you want to take it just like with cooking chicken. You want to give it a little slight shake. Get off the excess. And then drop it. Actually, this is not going too bad. I'm just worried about the taste because of that mix-up. Because you cook cookies with the wrong one of the two, and it usually does not turn out well. but thankfully there's not very much that goes in there. And also, I will tell you, to make this to taste, I'm probably going to add a little more seasoning, Lowerys seasoning salt to the top of it as I'm cooking these. I'm going to give it a nice little shake. I'm going to add as many of these in as I can comfortably add first. And then I'm going to turn, then we're going to, and you're going to get to see the end. You want to make sure they're nice and brown. So you probably want to leave them cooking on each side, probably I would say for about 2 minutes. And I don't want to put so many pieces in that I can't turn them over easily. You see how I'm letting that drip off? You want the excess to drip off. You want it covered good on both sides, as you can see it is. You drop the excess off. And it's already cooking good. Starting to sizzle, which is what we want. This is a nice little sizzle going on here. I'm excited. I think in the end that this won't end up being too bad. I'm just anxious. I'm going to add probably a little more Lowerys salt to it for my own taste. And that's kind of how you, sometimes how you can correct it, oops, is you overdo another seasoning and it corrects it. Okay, this spatula is going to need to be used on this one. This is harder to drop because it's in the center. There we go. Got it. Now I can almost got the whole cookie sheet in, which was kind of what I was hoping would happen, because these are small pieces. So I'm going to add one more in, and then I will taste it and see how they taste. Again, see how I'm doing? You always want to draw, make sure that you drain off all the excess. You want it covered well, but you don't want it to be over the top, because you still want to taste that tartness of that tomato. Okay, here we go. I'm going to add, for myself, a little extra Lowerys seasoning salt to the top of these. Okay guys, there was a thing called smell-o-vision, because I'm telling you right now, these are smelling so good. So, like I told you, I get nervous when I'm cooking with grease. You're going to see me act a little weird, possibly when I'm trying to flip these, because I do get nervous. I want you to see, this is, woo! This is perfect. Right there. That is exactly what you want your fried green tomato to look like before you flip it. So we're going to take it and flip it over. Oh yeah, I hope they turn out good because of that mistake I made. Now I'm so super nervous. I am so picky when it comes to following ingredients, even when I make my own in my own head, and I'm following my recipe in my head that I'm coming up with on my own. And I'm just randomly, impromptu making something from scratch and adding my own ingredients to see how it comes out. I'm still very picky about making sure I have the correct things. So I've never done, this is the first time I've ever messed up on an ingredient, ever. And I'm not playing with that. My mom will even tell you that. I was always really good when I was a kid. because my mom told me the horror stories about mixing baking powder and baking soda with cookies one time, and so ever since then, I made it a point to not let myself do something like that. So, I cooked them for about 5 minutes. Okay. There we go. Oh, they look so good. They're perfectly brown. I love the way they're looking. Oh my gosh, these look delicious. Oh, you can see them. Check that out, you guys. They look so amazing. Hang on, I'm switching the camera from... There you go. Oh my god. What do you guys think? These look delicious. So I'm really hoping... here's what I did to offset my mistake. I added lemon juice concentrate, like about 3 or 4 drops of it into the cooking oil. I also added about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice into the flour batter that I made to offset the mistake of the baking soda. So we'll see if the tanginess of the lemon and acidity of the lemon offsets the mistake that I made. I always am trying to find a way to fix things when I mess it up. Okay guys, I'm going to get ready to take one piece out. I'm going to taste test it and see if what I did worked. Nice and brown on the side. It's perfect. So I'm going to leave the others in there. I'm going to cut this baby in half. And again, another half. I'm going to take a small bite. I'm going to spit this tomato out. Or am I going to be like pleasantly surprised? Ready to find out how bad my mistake was. Oh, thank goodness. I need a little more salt. I'm going to add more seasoning salt into the rest of the batter. That's the only thing that is wrong. So yes, you can use baking soda or baking powder. Believe it or not, the lemon juice worked. Oh my god, these are so good. Like I said, I just wish they were a little more salty for me. Okay. Turn out so good. Ooh, that's hot. Alright. I showed you how to make your own fried green tomatoes. And I also told you the mistake I made. Ended up turning out not to be a bad mistake at all. I can't believe it, but it tastes really good. They're just not salty enough for me. I like very, very strong flavors. And that's the only difference. But I don't want to add any more salt to it. Because my husband doesn't like a lot of salt. So if I add too much, then it'll be too much for him. But me and Mom will probably be putting a dash of seasoning salt on ours before we eat ours. So I'm going to get these in a little bowl and get them set aside to take to my mom's house today. So we are finished. We did it. We made fried green tomatoes together. My very first time making fried green tomatoes, and believe it or not, they did not turn out too bad. I'm very excited about how these are turning out. I cannot wait to take these to my mom. So what you do is you always have a napkin. So you'd always do this. The napkin is for 2 reasons. You would use the napkins to make layers as she would go on a plate. It also helps to soak up some of the grease. So there's twofold reason for using napkins. So let me get these out and get the another batch started. So what do? Keep moving, keep eating healthy, and don't ever give up. These turned out so good. Definitely, if you ever have a chance, try my recipe. Give them a try. You will not be disappointed. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe with ones who you think may enjoy it. Subscribe if you're a first-time viewer. Check out my description. If you want to, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Check out Pixie's Friends, which is my other channel. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Hey.